Hi, my name is Catherine Doimling and I own Cook With What You Have, a cooking school and consulting business. So today we're going to talk about dry peas, lentils, and chickpeas, further classified as pulses, which comes from the Latin word pulse, which means to thicken soup, which is very appropriate since they do that extremely well. They're healthy, they're affordable, they're versatile, and so they're really something wonderful to have on hand to pull together quick meals. It's important to remember when you're cooking pulses to add salt and acidic ingredients at the end of the cooking time, since if you do so at the beginning, it can extend the cooking time. Now we're going to talk about cooking lentils and how to prepare them. They are super fun and easy to prepare, and they don't require any soaking. So all you do is measure them out and then put them in a strainer or a colander and give them a quick rinse. You usually won't find any little stones or anything, but keep your eye out for that. Then you can do one of two things. You can cook them just with a bay leaf. Bay leaves are a really common addition to cooking lentils, and you just cook them with water and use them as a side dish or in a cold salad. Or you can cook them with a lot of vegetables and spices and slowly simmer them in more of a soup or Indian dal kind of preparation. They take about 20 to 35 minutes to cook. They're really quite quick. And unless you're cooking with the red lentils, the split lentils, which cook about 10 to 15 minutes. A really typical and wonderful addition to lentils is a little bit of lemon juice or some vinegar. Both do really well in rounding out the beautiful flavor. And then once everything's cooked, they keep really well in the fridge and freezer. So feel free to make more than you need in the moment and then put some away for another meal down the road. Quick tip number one, make sure you adjust the cooking time based on the dish you're preparing. So if you're cooking a salad or a side dish, make sure you reduce the cooking time so that you can retain the texture of the lentil. If you're making a soup or a stew or a dal, you want to make sure you cook it a little bit longer to get that nice pureed texture. Now we're going to talk about how to prepare split peas and whole dried peas. You probably are familiar with split green peas and you see them a lot in split pea soup, but they have many, many other uses, like in salads or in pilafs. They do really well with other grains and rice, and they cook really quickly and don't need to be soaked. So with the split peas, you just want to give them a quick rinse and then bring them to a boil with plenty of water. And you might see some foaming that comes off as you start them to boil, so just skim off that foam, and then it tends not to boil over as easily. They take about 20 to 35 minutes, maybe 40 to cook. If you're cooking them to use in salads, keep them a little firmer and don't cook them quite as long. If you're going to use whole dried peas, they do have to be soaked, much like chickpeas and beans, so you want to soak those overnight. Now stay tuned and I'm going to show you how to prepare chickpeas. Now we're going to talk about cooking with chickpeas. And chickpeas are a personal favorite. I love adding them to salads at lunchtime. It makes for a wonderful, light but satisfying meal that keeps you going through the rest of the day. Chickpeas you really do need to soak, and they start out kind of small and dried, and they are going to double in size when you soak them. So make sure you give yourself enough room and enough water when you soak those. Once they're soaked, I like to add some bay leaves and a clove of garlic and a piece of onion to add that to the pot with the fresh water when you put them on to boil. And it gives them a lot of flavor, and especially if you have time to let them cool in their cooking liquid, then you have a wonderful base for soups or to add to hummus. Once you get those boiling, then they take about 30 to 45 minutes to cook. And if you don't have the time to soak or cook your beans from scratch, you certainly can use canned chickpeas. Those are ready to go. Open the can, you can rinse them, and then just add them to a salad or soup. We've covered some of the basics and the key things for cooking with chickpeas, lentils, and dry peas. Quick tip number two. If you're in the kitchen anyway, you can cook a big pot of chickpeas while you're doing something else because they really don't take any attention. So then you have them on hand for future use, and you just want to save them in their cooking liquid and freeze or refrigerate for future use.